What if I told you the secret to success for the next generation isn't about following a path, but about creating your own? Well, today we're going to break down this incredible blueprint from a super young entrepreneur who's doing just that. He's figured out how to flip the switch from just being a passive consumer to becoming an active, powerful creator.
So let's meet the guy behind it all, Yash Jain. And get this, he says he's been on this mission since he was just 11 years old. This isn't some theory he read in a book. He's living it. And he's tackling a huge question, right? How can any young person today actually build and lead in a world that just wants you to consume, consume, consume?
Okay, and before you think, oh, he's just a kid with a big idea, hold on. Look at this number, 10,000. That's how many students he's already trained all across India. We're talking about a business consultant, an internationally certified trainer. So everything we're about to dive into, this is straight from his actual real-world experience.
All right, so here's the game plan for today. We're going to look at his mission, this whole consumer versus creator idea, his three big pillars, routines, AI, and mindset. And then we'll wrap it all up with a 30-day action plan that you can literally start today.
First up, let's talk about the why. What's driving all this? Well, it really boils down to one super focused mission. And here it is. He wants to teach the youth of India how to bring together three, really powerful forces: entrepreneurship, AI, and mindset. And the goal? It's simple, but it's huge. Giving them the tools they need to actually take control of their own future, not just follow someone else's path.
Okay, so this leads us right to the heart of his whole philosophy. It's this fundamental choice. Think of it like a fork in the road that really every young person is facing right now. On one path, you've got the consumer. You know the vibe, just passively scrolling through reels, playing games. But on the other path, that's the creator. They're the ones making the reels, building the games. See? It's the exact same phone, the same internet, the same tools, but a totally different way of thinking.
So what's the big secret? What separates the two? You might think it's talent or money or luck, but no. At least not at the beginning. It's just about the direction you point all that energy.
All right, so if you're thinking, okay, I want to be a creator, where do you even begin? Well, it's probably not where you think. It doesn't start with some complicated business plan. It starts with your daily habits.
So Yash's whole system is built on these three main pillars. We're going to get to AI and mindset in just a minute, but everything, and I mean everything, kicks off with building those entrepreneurial routines right into your everyday life.
And he puts this so perfectly, there's a real urgency to it. The habits you form now will become your identity tomorrow. Think about that. It means you don't wait until you're older to start acting like an entrepreneur. You start building that identity today, right now, with the small things you do every single day.
And this is such a critical point. We have to forget this myth that you need a bunch of money to get started. No! The real starting point for anything big is discipline. It's about having systems for planning your day, for actually focusing, and for just doing the work, day in and day out, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the real magic.
Okay, let's move on to the second pillar. And this is a game changer. This generation has a tool that no one before has had, not on the scale anyway, AI. But here's the key. You have to understand its role. AI is not here to replace you. It's here to be your amplifier.
Yeah, think about it like this. AI is like having a 24/7 assistant who never gets tired and is always ready to go. But, and this is a big but, just like any assistant, it's only as good as the directions you give it. You've got to be the one in charge, the director.
And this isn't just some abstract idea. Yash actually shows his exact workflow. He's using ChatGPT to come up with ideas, Canvas AI to whip up designs, and Notions AI to plan out his entire week. He's literally plugging these tools into a real system that works.
And this difference is so important. The AI, it brings the speed, it brings the efficiency. But you bring the talent, the creativity, the strategy, the human touch. AI is just the tool, you're the one with the talent.
All right, on to our final pillar. And honestly, this might be the most important one of all. Because you can have the best habits in the world, the most powerful AI at your fingertips, but if your mindset isn't right, none of it is going to work.
And for Yash, this mindset isn't just something he read about. It's built from real life. I mean, he was learning about business when he was 7 years old, going to trainings with his mom, who was his mentor. He launched his very first company when he was 13. And the biggest lesson he learned through all of that, you never, ever stop learning. You know, a huge part of this mindset is how you think about failure. He has this amazing line, mistakes aren't negatives, they're investments. I love that. When you make a mistake at 15, you haven't really lost anything. What you've done is you've paid a tiny price for a super valuable lesson that's going to help you for the rest of your life.
Okay, so we've talked about the why, the what, and the how. Now it's time to put it all together. Let's get into a real, actionable plan that you can start literally the moment we're done here.
He calls it the 30-day challenge, and it's so simple, it's brilliant. Step 1, pick just one small idea, something you're actually passionate about. Step 2, fire up something like ChatGPT and ask it to help you build a simple plan. And step 3, this is the most important part. Just execute one tiny step every single day. No excuses.
So what's the payoff for doing that? Well, get this. He says that just by sticking to that simple plan for 30 days, you will already be ahead of 99% of your peers. 99%! All those people who are still just stuck scrolling and consuming.
Because in the end, it really comes down to this. Your capability isn't defined by your age. It's defined by your mindset. So the only real question left to ask is, what's your mindset going to be?